acceptable respect for a few things. People talk about a desire to be successful. All of the elements.
Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. I hope that everybody is doing okay, all things considered. It's been a while since I've done a live stream, and that has been intentional. Most of you know that I went through a pretty scary time a few weeks back, had multiple heart attacks, 2 majors, about 4 minors leading up to the 2 majors. Had to have an emergency surgical procedure done to hopefully rectify any future or minimize any future risk. Definitely pushed me to a change in lifestyle, a change in focus, a new perspective, but also a new lease on life, a new opportunity to take on life from a more vivid and clear picture of what's important to me. I mean, the things at the extreme top haven't changed. My my relationship with my wife and family have always been at the top, but how I approach that, how I approach the responsibility and the need to do the things I believe I should be doing as a father, as a husband, has definitely evolved. I see things a lot more clear. The things concerning my health is immensely more important to me now. Not that it wasn't important, but it was pushed far enough down that it wasn't being handled and taken care of at the level that it needed to be. And that definitely has changed. And so I needed some time to get that together. I needed some time to see how the new prioritization of my life and what that looks like is to me, as well as just simply trying to adopt or adapt to what's going on with the coronavirus and the semi-quarantines and stay-at-home orders and shelter-in-place orders and all the other things that are taking place. The new economic strains and how that looks for businesses and so many other things. And what I have enjoyed probably most out of just being, in a situation where I'm in a tight environment with my family. I wish all my family was here. All my immediate family was here. All the kids and their kids and everything. I wish that was the case, but it's not. Everybody's got lives and homes, and they're doing everything they can to protect those lives and homes, and I understand that. But what I have been able to do is regain an appreciation for time, and I'm enjoying the time that I'm having with my family. Don't get me wrong, it's a little crazy to be pressed up in the house with so many people because, we don't have a small family. We have a blended family of 13 kids. Now, while 8 of them, almost 9, we have one that's about to graduate high school, will be 18 in less than 7 days, 4 days. Wow, 3 days. Wow. So we have, another one that is technically entering into adulthood. I'm not real big on that 18 thing. I'm not really big on 21. Things I know now, if I knew them when I was 21, things would be a lot different in my life. But I'm grateful for where I'm at and what I've been able to do with what I've had. But being in this environment has proven to be a blessing. It's been a challenge to be limited in movement, and we keep our babies in the house, so they are literally stir crazy. We keep them in the house; they don't go anywhere. We have one adult child in the house who has to work. He's an essential employee, or super essential employee, and so he has to go out and come back in, and we go out only when it's time to get groceries, and we try to limit that. We're doing all the other precautions as far as keeping a humidified home, steaming whenever possible, and definitely when we go out and come back in, wearing masks, all the things that we think we can do to make things a little safer. We're practicing those things. Those who have followed me when I was doing a few videos know that I was then and still am an advocate of being calm, not promoting fear, not pushing a fear agenda, not sharing things that will raise the level of fear and panic. Why? Because panic doesn't normally end up with people making the right choices. It ends up with people making reactionary moves and instinctive moves that normally creates chaos. Panic always leads to chaos. It doesn't lead to the right decisions. There's a way to inform people and get them to do the things they need to do. Panic is not it. Panic normally leads to disruption, and that's still my stance on that. But at the same time, like I say, my family and I are practicing um, restraint, self-discipline. We are practicing safety and health, and we will continue to do so. I think that we're going to be looking at a new norm by the time this is over. I don't think we get back to what used to be because this was just too disruptive and too scary. And I'm going to leave that there for now because that's not why I'm here. But I just wanted to talk with you and kind of share with you the reason that I haven't been going. And to all of you who have been reaching out to me to check on me, thank you. To those of you who have been concerned about the fact that I have not been doing videos, thanks for checking in on me. Um, it was simply me taking the time I need to get my bearings, to see what it looks like with this new prioritized new prioritized list of responsibilities, and how I was going to let that play out. How many videos can I do a day? What is going to be the schedule? How many clients can I take in a day? How many programs can I take and facilitate? We're still going to be doing the 30-day challenge. We're now also doing a 90-day challenge, which is completely about health, holistic health, 90-day challenge. It's something I started after my situation, and it's something that I'm going to teach and create for people who really want to take control of their health. It's not just physically, I'm talking about mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And we're going to do that in a great way. I've also have connected with a couple of my buddies who are a part of the financial world, and we're going to offer programs to people who want to take advantage of this situation instead of being consumed by it. And I don't mean take advantage of the situation by taking advantage of other people. I mean take advantage of the situation because it's going to create opportunities for people to redefine themselves. The job market will probably not be the same when we finish this. There are too many things going on that we're learning are possible that we've been consistently told weren't possible, that now we're going to start to see become a necessity. It always happens. If you don't prepare for change, if you're not prepared for change, you cannot be in a position for growth. Change is a absolute requisite for growth. Those of you who are change averse are going to have to shift. You're going to have to shift paradigms. So those who have been checking in on me and wondering why, that's why. But we're going to get back to our daily morning inspirational videos. We're going to talk about different subjects that'll be assigned to days. So we're going to get back tomorrow, will be Money Monday. Tuesday, Mindful Tuesdays will return, and we're going to get back in the swing of things. And my favorite, Quantum Physics Friday, where we're going to really start to learn the power and the physicality of our thoughts, and why it's so important that you manage your thoughts, and that it's not magic, it's literally physics. It's that powerful. But we're going to talk about it, and we're going to learn how we can manage that and put it into motion and to help us get through some things. It's not magic. It's not a magic potion. It's not going to put you in a position for a life where you circumvent all the challenges and trials and struggles. That's not what it does. It prepares you to win. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to get back to all of that. And what I want to kind of do today is just prepare you for what we're going to prepare you in just the sense of inviting an idea into your head. What a lot of people are doing, if you watch people, and I experienced this in my life, and I think that for those of us who aren't truly acquainted with ourselves in the sense of being happy with who we are at the deepest sense. And see, a lot of people can convince themselves they're happy with them because they've created a life that makes everybody like them. But the truth is, you're happy because everybody likes you, not because of who you are. And the moment that it may seem that people are no longer liking you or approving of you, or you haven't earned the approbation of a certain group of people or a particular person, you are no longer satisfied. Your self-esteem suffers, your confidence suffers, and your happiness and your peace suffer. And that's what I want to talk to you about, the importance of becoming acquainted with yourself. And this is what this type of situation does. It limits your exposure to other people. So it limits your opportunity to seek validation from other people. And seeking validation from the ones you spend the most time around is a very difficult thing. Why? You've heard it said a million times. Familiarity breeds contempt. If you want to talk about it from a biblical sense, it says a man is not with honor in his own home. They said that very few miracles were performed in the hometown of Jesus. Why? Because they knew him. So the hardest people to get to approve of you and to pat you on the back are the people you're around every day. And it's because your genius to them is normal. They're used to you being that person that everybody else fawns over. So that's not impressed yet. That don't impress them. So now you're trying to figure out a way to get that. So what are you left to do? Even if you're in like me in a house where I think it's how many of us in here at a given time, 6, and but everybody looking at you like, okay, you're just I'm dad, or in the case of my wife, I'm Rick. It's that's who I am. And it's not that they don't appreciate who I am. It's just that they know who I am. So I can't be looking for that every day. Oh my God, you're the bomb, you know. And that's why I don't chase it on social media. That's why I don't chase it on social media. That's why my posts aren't about likes. My posts aren't about shares. My posts aren't about pats on the back. Now, when they come, I am very appreciative of the appreciation that I get. But that's not what I'm here to empower. I'm here to uplift. I'm here to share knowledge. I'm here to bring a new idea and a new thought. And I am actually keenly cognizant of the fact that most likely much of what I teach won't really truly be appreciated until I'm gone. That just seems to be the way things are in life. When you're truly planting seeds of substance, when you're truly planting seeds of power, when you're truly trying to bring truth, it isn't that appreciated because we live in a society where people have been trained and conditioned to seek those who say what they want to hear instead of what they need to hear. And they tend to be somewhat abrasive and standoffish to those who bring the truth unapologetically and don't bend to their desires. So I'm not, but I had to get there. There was a time where I could sit up and say, man, I'm good with me. I'm me and I'm me apologetically. But the truth was, I had a point in my life, well into my adulthood, that I was still trying to earn the approval of a father I never knew who was dead. Everything I was doing was to show him that he missed out on something. And I could never get that back. I could never have it. And I had to learn that. And I learned it in this place where I had to spend time with myself. A place where I had to back away from everything, no relationship, no serious relationship, because you sink yourself into that and you become what you need to be to make that work. And you haven't truly, I needed to know who I was before I married my wife. That was important to me because I needed to know who I was, because there would be times in the marriage that I had to be firm in who I am in order to be the leader I need to be. And so I needed to know that. And what I want you to do in this time where you are sort of pushed in and kept in smaller pockets of containment emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and physically, I want you to start getting to know yourself. This is a good time to sink yourself into your knowledge of self, to truly understand who you are. And in many instances, for most of us, that's also a time to really, truly establish an ideal relationship with the Most High. Because the truth of the matter is, most of us are living off of relationships with God that someone else gave us, an understanding of God someone else gave us, a closeness that is created by an idea someone else gave us. Very few of us have created the intimacy with the Creator that allows us to trust the Creator, because if we did, we wouldn't be panicking right now. See, if we really truly had an understanding and a knowledge of, and then we truly had an understanding of who God is, the Most High, the Creator of the universe, however you want to refer to God. If you really truly had an understanding, and then you knew how close you were and how you were viewed in the eyes of the Most High, however you see that, I'm not telling you how to see that. That's not why I'm here. But I'm saying that if you have that relationship and you understand that, and that relationship was truly intimate, and then there wouldn't be this fear. That's what is meant in Paul's epistle when he says that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Because just the knowledge of I'm in relationship with the Most High, and the Most High is not confounded by the things that confound man, then I understand that the answers to whatever enigmatic problem I have right now is not actually a problem, because God already has the answer. And matter of fact, the moment that you seek it, the answer is on the way. Now, it doesn't mean that you get the answer right away, but it means it's on the way. If you want to go into the book of Daniel, it sits up and it says, I want to believe it's chapter 10. I could be wrong, but there's this point where Daniel is praying about this prayer, about this dream he's had. He's looking for some understanding. Something that normally comes to him immediately takes 3 weeks. He prays and he fasts for 3 weeks before he gets the answer. Then when the angel of God appears, he says, Daniel, man dearly beloved, from the moment that you set your heart to understand, your words were heard, and I am here because of your words. The moment that you set out to understand, the moment that you prayed, the moment that you sought clarity, the answer was on its way. Now, the thing is, there are a lot of things going on in the spiritual realm. There are at least 5 dimensions within the spiritual realm. We operate and live predominantly on earth in the 3rd dimension, 3-dimensional reality. Everything we see and touch is what we believe, but it begins with a manifestation of thought in the 5th dimension. And then it travels spiritually down through the manifestations of dimensions until it reaches your reality. But it begins with your thought. It begins with what you believe. It begins with the limitations you place on your life. It begins with the power you give your problems. It begins with all of those things. And you have to understand something. Your thoughts have physicality, but the more you begin to know yourself and the more you begin to have an understanding of the direct relationship. In other words, God isn't just some distant being sitting on a throne somewhere. That's where we lose sight of things. God can't be distant on the throne and be omnipresent. Omnipresent means God's everywhere. There is not a place or thing or anything. One of the things that Solomon said is that God dwells in the darkness. I found that the most safe places for me were in the most darkest times. Why? When nobody there but me and God. We were able to figure things out, get back into relationship, reconnect, and understand. That's where you experience some of the greatest powerful moves of God, is in the darkness. See, you have lost sight of everything except for what you can see, but the very nature of faith is beyond what you can see. Faith is the evidence of things not seen. I don't care about what's going on in the physical realm when I've already conquered the spiritual realm. What I want you to understand is you're built for whatever you're about to face, but you got to trust your design. You got to trust your purpose. You got to trust your relationship with God. Let me give you an example of why it's so important to have this intimate relationship with God. Again, I'm not telling you how to set up your faith, because this thing really and truly needs to be a one-on-one thing with you and God. It has to go beyond what religion you claim. It's got to be one-on-one, a connection. This thing that y'all got going on, where you have these conversations. And you got to be so close that you can hear, and it's not going to be audible. So you got to hear in your spirit. And if you ain't reached that yet, that's a problem. I tell people all the time, that's a place that you can get in your life where you are so in tune spiritually with your design and your purpose that you're elevated in your thinking, and you're elevated in your expectations. You're elevated in what you anticipate for your life. And the higher you get in that, the more clearly you hear from God, but you hear in your spirit. And I mean clear. I mean clear. But you got to be in that right relationship and that intimacy. That doesn't come from listening to what someone else tells you about them. Now, see, what someone else tells you about God may get you interested in the relationship, in establishing a relationship, but it's the relationship itself that's going to determine where and how you operate and what happens in life and what you're able to accomplish in this life. You've got to become acquainted with self. There's something on the inside of you. I've told you, I've dealt with thousands of people over the course of my life in a professional capacity, one way or another, whether I've spoken at conferences, whether I've done one-on-one sessions, whether I wrote programs for them, whatever it is, I've done that. And what I can tell you is I have yet to meet a person who doesn't have a gift, a person that doesn't have a level of genius. I'm talking, I've worked with kids with autism, adults with autism, kids and adults with Down syndrome, kids and adults with other learning disabilities, people from impoverished areas, people from wealthy backgrounds. I've worked with them all, and I can tell you, I have yet to meet a person that when you sit back and you stop looking at what constructs that have been put around them, and you start to search them and look inside of them and observe them in the purity of their being, you find that there's a gift. That gift is a representation of their purpose and their power. And that when they're able to connect with their purpose and their power, all kind of unbelievable and extraordinary things happen. It is when you are trying to fit into a box somebody else created for you that life gets small. It's when you're trying to live at a standard somebody else set for you that life gets tight. When you start to understand that I'm here for a purpose, that I was created and designed for a specific thing. That's why I often say this. I quoted this the other day. It's something I started a long time ago after a very intense encounter with God myself. I learned something and I've been sharing it ever since. You cannot ever pray yourself out of your purpose. You can't disqualify yourself from your purpose. Bad decisions will not allow you to escape your purpose. And what does that mean? That means that you can't pray to God at any given time and ask God to deliver you from the giants He designed and sent you to slay. He designed you and sent you to accomplish a specific thing. That's what the gifting is all about. There's something that nobody can do like you can do. There's a way that you do it that's so unique and different than it's ever been done before, because you have a specific moment in time where you're going to stand there and plant your feet and perform your purpose. And that's what gives you a place. That's why you're here. For those of you who believe in salvation, that's why you don't get to leave after you become saved, because you still have a purpose. Life isn't about coasting. Life isn't about just surviving. It's not just about existing. It's about living to the level of your design. It's about honoring the designer. It's about taking on challenges. So the things that we're facing now aren't designed to destroy us. There's some of us that will fall, but greatness will come out of it. Today is the 111th birthday of the man who reared me. My great-grandfather, my grandmother's parents reared me. My great-grandfather would have been 111 if he would be alive today. To think that I was reared in a household with that much history and wisdom. And it created conflict because there was so much of a generational gap. And I tell people all the time that right now today, I cannot explain why I was so enamored with the messages and the speeches and the lectures he would give me, where most kids were whining and complaining, oh God, I don't want to hear this. Oh God, I lived for it. Every day I would get home from football practice and he would be sitting on the porch because he had retired, and he would be sitting on the porch. And when I would walk up on the porch, he would say, sit down, boy. And I would be like excited. You know, and he would drop something on me. And I'm talking about the time I was 17 and 18. He had to just pour it and pour it and pour it. And it took some time for some of those seeds to actually gestate and produce the fruit that it was meant to produce. It wasn't that I got it all at once. There are some things that are still sprouting now. He's been dead for 27 years. This year will be 28 years. This Thanksgiving will be 28 years he's been dead. But in my heart, he's still sprouting. And the thing is, that is what you have to be aware of in your life, is that there are some things that are coming out of those that you're losing, and that their lives still have purpose. I was talking to my wife, I'm gonna set this down. I was talking to my wife about the death of my grandfather and how it impacted me, and how that was a time for me that I was extremely angry with God, because my grandfather was not a very selfish man at all. He didn't seek a lot of things that people go after now. He had one prayer that he prayed consistently, and one thing he talked about, he was extremely active in the church. He was the president of the usher board, the president of the deacon board. He was the janitor for the church. We did the yard. We cut the yard for the church. He was also the chairman of the sick and shed-in ministry. So every Sunday we had to go around and visit people who had became incapacitated by their illnesses. And every Sunday it would be the same thing. We would leave and my grandfather's eyes would be welled up with tears. And he would sit up and say, the only thing that I ask of God is that when it's my time to go, that it happens quickly, a heart attack, a car accident, anything, but I don't want to suffer. And it turned out as it was that my grandfather found out he had leukemia at 78, and he suffered for 5 years. Now, when he found out, they told him that he had 2 weeks to live, and he refused to accept it. And he told them specifically, no, I'm not done yet. And he lived 5 years, and they had about maybe 6 more times where they wrote him off. And he told them no. And I was so angry because I watched him suffer in ways that you can't even imagine. And I was so upset. And then I started to see something. There was this doctor who was the lead doctor of this unbelievable team that worked on him through this whole ordeal, about a total of 5 doctors and their teams. And the lead doctor on this was an atheist, totally scientifically driven, didn't believe in God. And the last time my grandfather got sick and went into the hospital before he came home for the last time, he died at home. Before he came home, he was at the hospital and the doctor pulled me out. And this is 5 years into the game of writing my father off. And this doctor said, he said, before I met your father, there was no way that anybody could get me to believe that there's a God. He said, I don't truly know this. I'm not claiming any religion, but I'm telling you, there's something that's a higher power than the science that I attend to. There's a God. There's something that tells me this man will not leave this earth until he decides he's ready to. And I can't explain it. And that was the purpose. I couldn't understand why God wouldn't answer the one prayer that my grandfather had. You know, I just don't want to suffer. Why was that the one thing you couldn't give him? It was because somebody's life was going to be forever changed. And I don't know what that doctor did with that, but I know it changed me. And it made me see challenges in life different. You don't get to circumvent the challenges of life, but you do get to overcome them. You do get to conquer them. You do get to stand tall and say, I came, I saw, I conquered. You do get to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm built for this. I'm pushing through this. I will survive this. That's the thing. And so I'm going to leave you with this. We will get through this. We will come out better. We will come out stronger. We will come out wiser. I'm going to do everything I can to be a part of the solution, a part of the answer, a part of empowerment and elevation. But you have a responsibility to yourself. It's within you. You have to figure it out. On that note, I'm getting ready to get out of here. As I've always said in the past, live your life on full and you will die on E. On that note, I'm out of here. The acquisition of some skills that are in high demand as the workforce evolves. We are offering training and courses in a number of skill sets that will be in high demand in this particular decade. From 2020 to 2030, we already know that there's going to be plenty of demand for about 8 to 15 skill sets that don't require a formal education in the way of a degree of any kind, but just skill sets that you can demonstrate. Some are copywriting, coding, UI design, public speaking, data management, content creation, digital advertising. That's another
conceptual perspective. People talk about it as out of success.